Tonight, all they have is nine weeks to scrutinize and possibly pass 56 bills, not forgetting the 2022 financial budget statement or budget. Already, there is a lot of pressure piling on the legislature to ensure that all interests are served. Their recent order to the General Legal Council has sent a lot of tongues wagging. Was it good politically with little or no legal effect? Or was it just to serve a personal interest? That and more will be probed tonight. Thankfully, the Minority Chief Whip and Aswase MP Muntaka is my guest. The first Deputy Speaker of Parliament, JoyNews, also joins us briefly via Zoom as well. It's a good time to send your questions if you haven't done that already. We're live on the Joy News channel, Joy Prime, Joy 99.7 FM, Love FM in Kumasi, and over 30 affiliates across the country. On DSTV, we are on channel 421, GoTV is 144. Also on myjoyonline.com, as well as all social media platforms. Get talking and send your questions. Good evening and welcome to The Probe. I am Emefa Apau. A quick turnaround, then we get talking. Welcome back. This is The Probe here on the JoyNews channel. Many thanks for your company. My guest tonight is the Aswase MP and the Minority Chief Whip, Muntaka Mohammed. We're grateful for your time here on The Probe. Good to have you.
Yeah, sure.
I know it's been a busy day.
It's a hell of a day today.
We appreciate your time tonight. We're grateful.
Sure.
Hopefully also joining us via Zoom will be the first Deputy Speaker of Parliament and the Choir MP, JoyNews, also joining us briefly at some point in the show. But let's start off, Alaji, with this particular issue today. I saw videos of you today in Medina, leading the Madina MP, Francis Xavier Susu. Earlier, we had heard about the demonstration he led and police intention to invite him, amongst others. Today in church, we are told something happened, that some men came attempting to arrest him. First off, have we established who these men are?
Well, I mean, yeah, we've confirmed that they were from the police administration.
From the police?
Yeah, but they were not in uniform, so it was difficult to identify them. But obviously, we needed to call some of our colleagues, the security ministers. And in the initial state, almost everybody didn't know his whereabouts. I mean, nobody was aware. So let me call back, let me do my checks. And finally, they confirmed that they were coming from the police.
Well, so you've spoken, would you say, to the police administration themselves to actually confirm whether these are their men? Because we are getting contrary reports from the police that they know nothing about this.
No, that would be surprising because obviously I don't want to doubt my colleagues, the ministers of security. I mean, here I'm talking about national security, interior, and defense. And they all came back to say that no, they were coming from the police administration. So I'll be very surprised if the police says that they are not coming from their outfits. Okay.
Well, so what exactly happened today from the reports that you got from your colleague?
Well, the challenge was that you know that sometime last week he raised this issue of contempt in Parliament. I mean, even before then, a number of things had happened. And let me take this opportunity to thank my colleagues, especially the Interior Minister, because I mean, each time I keep getting back to him to try to ascertain the veracity of some of the things that were happening. And he's been always helpful to pick the call and at least try to give you some useful information. So when our colleague raised the issue before Parliament, unfortunately that day, I mean, I was not even there because we had gone to Kumasi, the KNUST 70th anniversary. So we were there when we heard about the issue on the floor. But nevertheless, I mean, I believe that matters like this, it's better to discuss them and come to some understanding because, frankly speaking, my sister, what has Michael Soso done? He wrote to the police administration about the intention of he and his constituents to demonstrate. In fact, the police kept changing the date. Finally, they gave them this very date that they went out. And in the morning, when even before he came out, he heard about some of his, you know, there were a lot of villages along there. So he led the police to go and get them to put them off, to clear the way. So they did all this before even the demonstration started.
But per the Public Order Act, if anything goes wrong during a demonstration, the leaders are held accountable.
But what I'm saying,
and the police are just looking for him to ask him questions.
But what I'm saying is that what went wrong? No damaging, no smashing, nothing, apart from the early morning before they came out. And he assisted the police to talk to these people. No, please put this on. It's not part of what we agree we're going to do.
Okay.
And this was done in the very early hours, and they were able to put all those things off. So if now they went through the route till the end.
So if nothing happened, yes. What's this difficulty with just attending upon the invitation of the police? You see, let's get this clear. You see, I keep saying that maybe the time has come for someone to go to the Supreme Court for us to get interpretation, and then we'll settle this once and for all. Okay. I mean, since we started this, our democratization 1992 to date, periodically it keeps coming up, exactly. And then you see, oh, Article 117, 118, 122 keeps coming. Nobody wants to dare go for interpretation. Because you see, Emefa, if you know the genesis of Parliament, you understand why in every country's constitution this is there. Because Parliament was to check the monarch. And to be able to check the monarch, they were supposed to be given some privileges so that they will be able to do their work without turning their back. If all of us as Ghanaians, maybe let's say our Supreme Court give a true meaning, no, this is how we want it. Well, you send me to Parliament, and then things are happening. I'm afraid, so I won't talk. But it can't be absolute also. Leading a demonstration, is it parliamentary business?
It is.
It is. And leading a demonstration.
Look, if you are a student of democracy, to tell you, okay, what fuels democracy? The fuel that helps democracy is demonstration. Because it's the only way you do it in a legitimate manner, in a way that is non-violent, in a way that does not cause any distraction, to register what needs to be addressed. Okay. So it is the thing that fuels democracy. So if people think that if you have a democracy and people cannot demonstrate, believe me, that's not a democracy. Because when they have grievances, what do? So if this has happened, and I mean, let me say, I've been in Parliament since Speaker Sachi Hughes, I've seen Speaker Bamfordado, I've seen Speaker Duajao, I've seen Makokwe, they've consistently insisted. And in the case of Professor Makokwe, it says that no MP will go to police station. Okay. I'm making my conference hall available. Anytime you have an issue, call me. I'll get the member, whilst in the chamber, to come out, come and talk to you. Okay. Whatever you want to do it there, and then go. If it comes necessary now, you want there's the need for prosecution, well, then that can continue. So for me, we are flexing over nothing. And you see,
but in this case, Parliament flexing because we are saying that.
Let me say that, I mean, Dampare, everybody, oh, good guy, let's be careful. We don't create a monster out of him.
You think we are creating a monster out of him?
Let's be careful. Because you see, he has to make sure that he's also working within the confines of the law. You see, if you read Article 117 and 118, where it talks about the certificate of a speaker, even when you arrest an MP, and this one happens everywhere in the world, and the speaker writes to you, you see that writing is enough for you to release the MP. So when speaker writes, without going through with the investigation. No. And you disagree with him. Go to court. Let the court, because that's the independent decision. But when you decide to act outside it, I'm sorry to say you are acting lawless. Okay. Because the speaker making ruling is part of the constitutional process. And
how about Parliament also holding them to the Privileges Committee over this particular matter?
Yes, because the member has made a complaint. And speaker says, it's not on this floor that you'll be able to ascertain whether there's guilt or not guilt, or the veracity or otherwise of the issue. The best committee to deal with this is the privileges. Let's go there. When we go there, all the issues will play. There will be evidence, there will be videos, everything. That will show. Now, this evening, maybe around 4:30, then we heard the police bodyguard of the MP has been interdicted. Interdicted? Yes.
Today?
Yes, and they are taking him to the house to take all his police accoutrement. That is bullish. You have been a bully. You have been a bully.
There was no communication from the police service?
No.
To the MP?
No.
No reasons have been given for his interdiction?
That is a privilege issue. Because this gentleman was tasked to protect the MP. you interdict him, no notice to the MP. You see, you are becoming a bully. Let's watch it. Because you see, every dictator that you've seen was once a benevolent person until it goes into the person's head, then the person becomes a dictator. We will support the police 100%. We are not above the law. We are supposed to operate within the confines of the law. Okay. Anytime we go wrong, we will be happy to also be subjected to the law. But you have to do it right. Okay.
So no reason has been given for the interdiction of this particular police officer?
No, nothing has been written to the MP.
Okay.
And the officer, you interdict the one who has been assigned to protect him. So all you are doing is that you are overexposing the member of parliament. And then you are showing him where power lies.
There's no replacement.
No replacement. Okay. And then you are overexposing him. And you say, Emefa, let's try to move away from this primitive way of operating. This member of parliament has a home. Mm-hmm. You wait, he leaves home. He's in the church. And apparently check. That was the second church because he was doing church visitation in his constituencies. Okay. That was the second church. So you go to the church, you surround the church. What are you trying to imply? You see, now Speaker has written to you. Is it, now you are angry at Speaker's letter and you are going after Speaker. Okay, you may have the men and you can choose to use the men to, for lack of a better word, abuse the process. Remember, the Speaker also has an arena. Mm. And that arena, if he also decides to abuse the arena, where will it be taking all of us? Okay, so let's fast forward to today. When you got to the church premises, because we're told that the MP had to stay in there till you came. How was this matter resolved? Well, I mean, let me admit, and this is where I continue to thank my colleagues, because whilst I was on my way, I kept talking to them and calling them, why this? Look, this can be done in a very decent way. Mm. We can always agree, like Professor Magokwe has done, make the MP available, question him about whatever you want to do. Let us do this in a very simple way. If, for example, let me admit, I haven't seen Mr. Speaker's letter until today. Mm-hmm. The letter that Mr. Speaker wrote to and you feel very strongly about it. I believe that the Speaker of Parliament is not the type that closes his door to
But that should have been the first option for Parliament, some would say, rather than, the action or the move that Parliament took.
No, because they wrote to the Speaker to release him for investigation.
Exactly.
And the Speaker says that, look, Parliament has just roped him. I'm talking about the letter that I read today. Parliament have just roped him, and I cannot release him. Aside that, this matter has been raised on the floor of the House and have referred it to the Privileged Committee for investigation. So make your officers available, and we are sure that we can... When you are not willing to make your officer available, but they should make the officers available. No, and that's exactly what I'm saying, that I saw the letter. If I were the IGP, I'll get in touch with my Interior Minister to seek appointment with the Mr. Speaker. Okay. To understand, Mr. Speaker, maybe Mr. Speaker might have heard it. Let me tell you, I mean, we meet in conclave, and there are a lot of complaints. I don't know whether you saw the video where the MP for Setre, Kumewu, in an assembly, police were used to prevent him from entering. And they all know that he's a member of Parliament for that place. Mm. It was the police that were used. So if police allows themselves to be used in abusing ordinary citizens of our country, you get Speaker naturally. I mean, that day I was not in the chamber. But when I heard the voice, I could see the Speaker was worried and was like, he was provoked. Okay. Because of the number of incidents of, like more, for lack of a better word, attempt to humiliate members of Parliament in the public. The attention that's the sense you get. That's the sense I get in his voice. Okay. I mean, this is someone who is a seasoned lawyer. We all know he's been a member of Parliament for 28 years. He's very versed with the rules of the House and how we operate them. I don't think he will want to stand the way of police in trying to investigate any matter. But if I were the IGP, I would have seen my Minister of the Interior go seek audience with Mr. Speaker to let some understanding, some talking happen. Okay. Because Speaker will never want to stand the way of police. But is he safe now? Is he safe now? Obviously, I want to be. So he wasn't arrested after all? Yes. Okay, so you intervened and that did not happen? Yeah, I mean, and I keep thanking my police, especially the Interior Minister, for his intervention. I believe that we should allow cool heads to prevail. This is something that we can resolve. Because you see, I've heard a number of social media guys saying that, Nampare is doing well until he deals with the political class I will not trust. But that doesn't mean you should overstretch it. Because things that we all do has consequences. And I believe that let's do it in a way that is within the confines of the law. But I want to encourage him to take Article 117 and 118, and probably even together with 122, to court for interpretation. So that you see, that's how you build a democracy. Then this controversy becomes settled. And then all of us know that no, it's settled. It's now settled law, that this is the only thing that can happen, this cannot happen. It gives the police, the clear mind to know how they're operating. We, the actors, it also gives us, who am I? I'm nobody apart from a rep of Asawansi. But because I'm representing them, if I'm going to be overexposed, I will not be able to represent them, because things that affect them, I will not even have the courage to speak about them or fight for them, not alone represent them properly. So let's understand. I believe that there should be a middle way that we should be able to deal with it without breaking eggs.
Well, this is the probe here on the Joy News channel, also on Joy 99.7 FM, and it's just emerging that the police officer assigned to the Madina MP, Francis Xavier Susu, has been interdicted, and we'll be finding out from the police what reasons exactly has been assigned to that. But of course, let's get into your questions. A lot happening, 9 weeks, 56 bills, whether we're able to pass or whether we're able to scrutinize all these. We're looking at this particular meeting of Parliament, and issues have come up this week also concerning the GLC that we'll be taking a look at also. And like I said, via Zoom, we'll be joined by the First Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Jose Usu, also to deal with issues about the Privileges Committee and other matters arising. But let's get quickly into your questions at this point. We'll start from Ephraim. What would you say is the biggest agenda for this 8th Parliament, and which your side in particular will do everything to see its realization? That's Ephraim's question, kicking it off for us. Elvis says, Parliament last week directed the General Legal Counsel to admit the 499 law students denied admission into the School of Law. What is the legal basis for this directive from Parliament, and what will you do if the GLC decides to ignore this directive? That's Elvis. Somoa says, what is Muntaka Mubara's opinion on the constitutional provision which says no private member's bill shall be introduced which causes a charge on the consolidated fund? Does he see this provision probably drowning the bill on the technicalities? I'm sure you're talking about the anti-LGBTQ bill. But let's start off with the biggest agenda for this particular meeting of Parliament, which your side will do everything to see its realization, you'd say.
Yeah, definitely the budget of 2021.
Okay.
The accounting for it.
Accounting
for it. You see, usually they will, like you admit, the Interparliamentary Union, has a standard number of weeks that budget should be used, should pass through a house. And usually they will say, try to use minimum 12 weeks. 12 weeks. If you can't get 12 weeks, don't try to go less than 8 weeks. Now we have 9 weeks. 1 week is gone already. And we are left 8 weeks. I can bet you, even this coming week, nothing much will happen. Because the earliest we are expecting the budget, I'm told, is 17th. And remember, Christmas is 25th. So we can work up to 24th. So meaning, we are likely to have no more than 5 weeks. We are likely to have no more than 5 weeks to work on the budget. That puts a lot of pressure on members of Parliament. So because of that, sometimes they come to the committee and there's this attempt to rush. This time, we've served the notice, we've said it on the floor, we've said it at the business committee, we've said it at leadership meeting. No way. You have to come and show the details of your expenditure on the last year budget before this year's one.
Before this was will be approved.
That is something that we will not compromise
within this period before you rise?
Yes. So if you come, if you want us to move, be able to make it faster and quicker, come ready. Last year, you approved 20K for us. This 20K, this is how we use it. We don't want the type that you come, the 20K, 5K went to MFA, 2K went to Muntaka, 3K went into phone. No. The one that went to MFA, it was for her to buy a laptop, A4 sheets, toner, pen. We want the details and how each of it costs. That is a
why this approach this time? Is it a deliberate attempt to frustrate the process?
No, that is the way budgets are supposed to be. But usually when they come, they say, oh, because you are playing the oversight, you just allow, we'll come with the details later. And I can bet you, many ministries and agencies don't come back with the details. Many of them. When the moment they get away, they don't come back with the details. So this time, we don't want the details on credit. We want them hand. So come with them, it makes everything easy. Okay. Then we can appreciate how it was. Look, if you look at the supplementary...
What's your suspicion?
My suspicion is where I'm coming to. You see, the supplementary budget of 2021 says that COVID spent over 10 billion. No agency has given any details. All you see is that, oh, we spent 1.5 billion in cooking hot meals. We spent this billion in doing raw food.
But that's detailed enough.
That's not detailed. The hot meal, how many people did you give? Give us the breakdown. They were Kasua, Accra, Kumasi, and SM Environs. So tell us, they are broken down into districts. So in Greater Accra, how many districts did you send? Each district, how many people receive? How much did each of the meal cost? That's where you talk about details. But don't come and tell me that I spent 5 billion in distributing cameras to Joy FM. That's not detail. How many cameras? Each camera, how much did it cost? That's when you are giving me the detail. Okay. So these are the things that
but
I can bet you that
notice you've not started getting any of such
information because
that you've
the time for budget hasn't come. Normally, it's when the budget is read, when they are coming for the estimate, then they will come with a review of last year and then present that of this year. So we are waiting. Okay.
So this is the topmost agenda for you. For of course, 56 bills for this particular meeting, 9 weeks, plus this particular one that is high on the agenda for you. You know, the anti-gay bill is a public concern, right? It's generated a lot of public controversy, and people are hopeful that something will be done about it. At least it will move to another stage in this particular meeting.
Where we are, our constitution, the constitution is very clear, 106. A bill should not stay more than 3 months at a committee. I know someone will say that, oh, he's talking about a bill that is coming from government. A bill is a bill. It shouldn't stay more than 3 months. 2nd November, this bill has 3 months at that committee. So if you don't finish this bill, well, our notice is that then you cannot do any other bill.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. You can't do any other bill. Because if the one that has stayed for 3 months, you are not ready to do it. You can't come with someone and say that that one is urgent. So 56, you want to rush it. No, no, no. That one is top priority for us.
The anti-gay bill?
Yes, unless you are coming to amend a section of an act, which is sometimes a one-day thing. But to come with a whole bill when this one has not yet passed, no.
But you know the processes it has to go through.
Yes, the processes
the chairman has mentioned they are going to do a public hearing.
And I spoke to the chairman myself. Last week I had the privilege, the great privilege of talking, traveling with him to Kumasi, the 70th anniversary of KNUSC. I mean, with all humility, I've chaired the health committee, and I was telling him when I got one of the controversial bills, the public health bill, what I did. When I got the mental health bill, what I did as chair. And I advised him, use that method. Within 2 weeks, you can get your report to the floor. If you are interested in getting the report to the floor, because we have what they call 4 stages to go. We are now at the first stage, where they will now do and incorporate all the suggestions and bring them back to the House. Then we'll go to what we call second reading, where we'll talk about the principles. And then that's where everybody can vent his views and positions on it. Then after that, we'll go into the consideration stage, which is the third leg, where we'll look at it clause by clause, where you want to make any amendment you propose. If you are lucky, majority of MPs agrees to do, then it's amended. Where you want to add, then you can add. When we are done with that, and we'll do the third reading, we will have finished our work. Then it will be love for assent, signing from the president.
Okay.
So, and this, I have seen bills that are like this, that we rush through and do all this in 2 weeks.
So Parliament can do this if they want.
If you are not willing to fast track this, then you cannot fast track any other bill.
Okay.
In this meeting, no. Because this meeting is dedicated for budget. So you are either going to fast track this so that I can pave way for you to do other bills, or forget it. We are not going to cooperate for you.
It appears the minority side is bowing to pressure from the religious organizations, amongst others.
No.
Or just scoring some cheap political points.
No, this is a bill that's long overdue. Let's settle it once and for all, so we can concentrate on other things.
Okay.
So let's not allow it to linger, and then the hot air, cool air, accusation, counter-accusation, who is for it, who is not for it. Let's deal with it so that we'll close this year, knowing that we are done with this one. We are going to control our country.
So you are with the Speaker on making every step of the way public?
Every step of the way, in my view, has always been public when it comes to bills, except maybe the committee hearing, which I will encourage, because I have always told the chair, even though our standing orders leave that issue of allowing the public into the committee to the chair. When I was the chair, I would always prefer that I allow the public to sit in, let the cameras be there. Maybe true that somebody who couldn't come closer could hear about the things that are happening and could come out with a better suggestion, even though the person is not closer. So allowing the public and the cameras in actual sense, in my view, helps, improves the bill better. So they should allow it, but that one is based on our standing order at the committee, is at the discretion of the chair. I will encourage the chair in his committee to open it up so that it will be easier for members of the Ghanaian public to follow through every stage of the way. Because when it comes to the floor, that one is automatically what we call the public. What we do is that usually you see that we don't really vote vigorously. Speaker put those in favor, aye, those against, no, the ayes have it, then we'll go. Maybe this one, where there are clauses that are controversial, we want to register to see where Aswanse stood, where Muntaka voted for. Maybe people may be interested. But if it comes and it's like we all agree as we usually do with most bills,
then you go.
Then it will not be any controversial thing on the floor.
Okay.
It will be taking the same levels and it will go.
Well, the second issue Elvis raised was the issue about the General Legal Counsel. Parliament's directive, and thankfully Jose was having issues with his Zoom but has joined us via phone. But I'll take your view quickly on that, or let me just bring him in first, because since he chaired that meeting, you were very vocal together with the others on this particular issue. Welcome, Mr. Jose Usu. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, I'm grateful for the opportunity.
Well, this particular directive, at least you chaired it. First, some have said, or to clarify, whether it was a plea or an order to the General Legal Counsel.
Well, I think it is clear. This was a resolution of Parliament adopted, directed at the General Legal Counsel, that they should go by the advertised procedure for determining pass or fail. And by that, we suggested that the 499 or so who had obtained the 50% mark or more should be admitted. I hear people say that Parliament is giving instructions to the judiciary. Let me make it clear that the General Legal Counsel is not part of the judiciary. The General Legal Counsel is an executive agency created by Parliament. The Attorney General is the minister who has ministerial responsibility. To that extent, the General Legal Counsel is amenable to the oversight of Parliament. And that's what we're seeking to do. Parliament did not instruct them to do anything. Parliament did not order them to change or make any new rules. All we said was that we saw the advert they made in the newspapers. We know by practice they determine they have 50% mark. And indeed, the acting director, when the current director was on leave, the person who acted, Mr. Ukajima, is that right? Yeah. He said on air that when they put that advert, they intended or they meant 50% or more. That's all Parliament is saying, that please follow what you have done in the past and let those who have obtained 50% or more get access to the school.
But from what we know, this particular issue, that same day that you were issuing that order or directive, this matter was being heard in court. From what we know, Parliament can only investigate, but is required by its own order, your own order, 199, to have regard to the sub judice principle, which forbids discussion on matters before a court or judicial, quasi-judicial, or other tribunal. No, not the case?
Do you have that 199? Whoever told you that has misguided you. In fact, what Parliament rule says is that when a matter is before court, members commenting should comment such that the parties will not be prejudiced. The parties should not be prejudiced. That doesn't stop Parliament from making comments.
But this is like you are ordering actually the General Legal Counsel to take your orders. This same matter, the 499 students are in court seeking interpretation on this matter because they have not got admission into school. Then Parliament is now directing the GLC to do the same thing that they're asking the court to do. What exactly, how then do you reconcile both then?
First thing is that one, Parliament is not aware that there was any matter in court.
Parliament is not aware?
No, nobody has served Parliament any notice. And during the debate, nobody mentioned a matter being in court. What was clear was that the entire House were not satisfied with the procedure for determining who qualified. Parliament was not satisfied that the General Legal Counsel was doing something other than what they had advertised. And so Parliament was determined.
So now that you're aware, now that Parliament is aware that that matter is before court, what happens?
Parliament
Are you going to review that
directive? Let me make it clear. Parliament is not constrained by any matters in court. Parliament does not seek to compete with the judicial authority of the judiciary. No. But the judiciary itself, on many occasions, say that it will not enter Parliament and regulate how Parliament does its business. The Constitution is clear that Parliament shall regulate its own business. And in our regulation, we say that when it is made aware that a matter is pending before court, you should comment on it in such a way as to not prejudice the party. So, first, we're not informed about that, but I'm not sure that even if we're informed, we would have taken any different position that what the school, the General Legal Counsel through the school advertised, or the school through the General Legal Counsel advertised, should be respected. That's not an order, that's not a new rule, just ensuring that what you told the applicant, you go by it.
Well, for some, at least, for some legal experts that we've heard on this matter, it's more like tantamount to Parliament giving orders to the executive, because looking at the Legal Professional Act 5, for instance, the council shall in the performance of their functions comply with any general directions given to them by the minister. So the legal counsel is supposed to take such orders from the minister, but your directive was directly to the General Legal Counsel, then later to the Attorney General as well, when your attention was drawn to it. So is the legislature now giving orders to the executive? Is the question I'm asking.
No. We knew all the time that the General Legal Counsel would be is the Attorney General, who is the minister, who can answer for the actions or inaction of the General Legal Counsel. So after we adopted the resolution, the consequential order was that the Attorney General shall ensure that the General Legal Counsel complies with the resolution, the orders containing the resolution.
Are you hopeful that this will actually have any legal effects? The GLC will actually comply with this particular order from Parliament?
I have no reason to believe that they will not. I believe them. You see, as far as I'm concerned, our resolution was not to give them any new orders. All we're saying was that what you advertise, please go by it.
And it was Parliament's place, and it was Parliament's place for that to happen? It was Parliament's place?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
I'm asking that is that Parliament's place to give such orders?
Who else? If Parliament, the representative of the people, the agency that created, the arm of government or the institution that created the agency, that imbued it with all the powers, cannot ask them to follow the rules they make. At least the Attorney General is answerable to Parliament. The agencies may not come to us directly, but the Attorney General is answerable to Parliament, and they may be called to Parliament to explain why the resolution cannot be respected.
Okay. What would you say then to those who feel that it's just more like members having some personal interests in this matter much more than issues about legalities, maybe just to score some cheap political points, people think.
Of course, this is Ghana. Everything is explained in ways that sometimes are funny. But the important thing is that the matters are in public. Parliament did not create the issues. The matters are already in public. Students, you're telling me, are in court. The law school has had to postpone its reopening in respect of the new entrant. Should Parliament not be interested in a matter like this? Parliament created an institution to regulate and ensure legal training. Now, if these controversies are surrounding the legal training in the country, should Parliament not be interested?
Okay. Well, you stay with me briefly. I'll come back to you on the issue about the Privileges Committee, but I'm sure Muntaka has been smiling all the way through it, your submission. I'm sure this is a matter that I heard you also very vocal on the floor of Parliament on this matter. Personal interest is overriding legal issues, isn't it?
It's not personal interest. I've always been pained with the way we have pretended not to be able to deal with the problem with law training. I mean, as if it's some skyrocketing or some kind of some abstract thing that cannot be done. And I said on the floor of Parliament, I mean, I couldn't have agreed more with the Speaker. Those who say that the only time we agree is when we are talking about welfare. I mean, this is one that we were unanimous. We all agree because, I mean, look, training lawyers, I have argued, it's not different from training accountants or medical doctors or engineers or this thing. How are others able to do it so that they can produce more than, I mean, KNUST alone can produce 200 doctors, Cape Coast, UDS, and before you realize you have sometimes 2,000 a year. And you are telling us that all these years you are so conservative that you cannot come up with any method to deal with this and have to allow this to escalate to this level, the large numbers, to extend that people can pass and not get through. I mean, it's just a scar on our conscience. And I couldn't have agreed better with the First Deputy Speaker that, look, they should just respect their own rules. That's all we are saying. In this instance, you said these were the people who were going. They insisted, let's see the results. The results came, and apparently there's this 499. Add them, find a way of dealing with it.
Has Parliament taken the pains to even look at the 499, and you're sure that all 499 actually
yes, I mean, what they themselves publish shows that they got more than 50%. Okay. Right? They themselves publish it. And that shows that these are people that have passed. Now you are trying to come with some other explanation. And I said that that's not fair. You can't ask people that, look, just carry this thing for 2 kilometers. We get 2 kilometers, so my expectation is that you carry it for another kilometer before I relieve you. That's not fair.
Okay. Well, we'll go through the number of questions that we have, but let me just wrap up with Mr. Jose Usu, because he's also chairman of the Privileges Committee, and this issue about the Madina MP and the police has been referred to his committee as well. And there's some other issue also that, as journalists, we're also very interested in. We're hoping that we could get some comments from him on it. But first off, Mr. Usu, briefly, I would want to find out from you on this matter that has been referred to your committee. The police is supposed to appear before you because of complaints put before the Speaker by the Madina MP. Today we're hearing of what happened when he went to church. What really is the status of that matter? It's been referred to your committee.
Well, on the day the matter was said to have been referred to my committee, I was not in the house. On that day, we were attending the 70th anniversary of KNUST, requested by Otumfo to support him. So practically all the Anti MPs went there. And I have not seen the text of the Mr. Speaker's directive yet. I had a meeting with my ranking member last Thursday to discuss how to have Parliament having resumed, how to resume our work at the committee. So I'm sure when in the coming weeks we will meet to review matters that have been referred to as those that are pending, and then we'll move on from there. There's nothing will change. The procedure is the same thing. Anything, act or omission that denigrates a member of parliament or the institution of parliament, or that frustrates a member from performing his duty, or the institution of parliament from performing its duty, is contempt of parliament. This is the guiding principle that will guide us. So then it is the name of the game is evidence. If the evidence supports that claim, then the person is in contempt, and the procedure for administering punishment is followed.
Okay. Then one last issue, just before I let you off. This issue about my colleague, Erastus Asaridonko. This matter was also brought before Parliament by an MP, Alassane Suyini, and it was referred to your committee. At least this particular one, I'm sure you were in Parliament then. What is the status of it?
Well, the committee has met over it about twice or so. But on the day we set for hearing, that's when we learned that actually the person against whom the complaint was made, the honorable member against whom the complaint was made, has not been served with the processes. Apparently, he was out of the country. Indeed, since then, he has not been in Parliament. He has not been to Parliament. So we're waiting to get the honorable member and serve him. Then we can set a date for hearing. And
the Speaker's attention has been drawn to this. There's no way of reaching your own colleague, a member of Parliament?
There's a procedure for serving members. And if he's not in the jurisdiction, he's not there. There's nothing, we can't change the situation. If he is in the jurisdiction, he will be served. But for now, the report from the Secretariat is that after the day we're supposed to begin the hearing, member has not been served.
And what did your preliminary investigations find?
Preliminary investigation was that he has not been served. What we're going to do also here, give the petitioner the opportunity to tell us what is his complaint, and then we'll ask the respondent to respond and give his answer, if any, before we come to a conclusion one or the other.
We're grateful. That's Joseph Osei-Wusu, is the first Deputy Speaker of Parliament, happens to be the chairman of the Privileges Committee, also the Bekwai MP. Many thanks for your company. But still with me in the studio is Alhaji Muntaka Mubarak, Minority Chief Whip, and we've been delving into some issues that have come up this week, plus the bills that Parliament has to look at, 56 of them, and they've already served caution that if the proper Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill is not giving the attention, no other bill will be giving attention as well. But there were other questions that came up. Let's quickly go through them. But this particular issue for us as journalists is very important because this matter was referred to the Privileges Committee, involved Kennedy Ohene-Japong, and weeks down the line, nothing.
Yeah. I mean, it's just to put it like the chair said. I mean, if a member is not within the jurisdiction, it's very difficult for you to be able to serve him. But I believe that, I mean, we need to be able to do more because it is very clear, our rules, you cannot absent yourself from Parliament for 14 days continuous. I mean, Parliament has resumed. Is he not around? What is happening? Has he sought sick of leave? All these things are things that could be checked. So that if it is that the person is, the colleague is avoiding service, that one, obviously, Mr. Speaker can give a directive. So I think that the committee needs to be, for lack of better, more proactive in trying to deal with this matter. Okay.
Well, a quick question. I'm sure you've been speaking to it, but let's quickly go through. I have Sumwa and another quick also. He says, what's Mr. Mutaka's opinion on the constitutional provision which says no private members bill?
Yeah,
okay,
I mean, this Article 108, I mean, read it well. It says that in the opinion of the one presiding.
Okay.
So if the one presiding, and I mean, let me say, graciously, Professor Magokwe, Speaker, did so well to break the shell that we could have private members bill. And I want to believe that Speaker Barbin will continue that path. So we shouldn't entertain so much fear about this provision and 108. Yeah.
Okay. Well, this also, the issues about the visas directly related to this.
Yes.
Some time back, you had cause to raise
I
concerns.
mean, yeah, but like I said, we're doing the auditing, and it came out with two. One was Honorable Suhini, and then the other one was Honorable Beza.
Okay.
And the Beza one was for the U.S. Embassy. They came to show that it's there that because for a very long period of time they've not been issuing visas, so they have a huge backlog. They are working at it. They even cited me as an example that Honorable Muntaka and his family is also still going through the process. So it's not because of us, because of that. In the case of Honorable Suhini, they have given him the visa. So we are very emphatic on this. If any embassy will say because of this bill, they will want to punish any member or his family member because of this, obviously, we won't take it lightly. I mean, their businesses here will be affected. We'll make sure that Parliament itself, whatever we'll have to do, even if it comes to the point that the embassy will have to shut down and go, we will insist. This is our culture. This is our country. You can't come and dictate to us. We are not dictating to you how you want to run your country. Why do you want to dictate to us? If you have views, that's why, Mr. Speaker, the Office of Speaker, our chairpersons, the leadership, our doors are always open to all the embassies where they are able to come, have a tete-a-tete, talk to us about their views, sometimes very strongly. So, well, we agree with you on this. This one we disagree with you, but we've heard you. So they can always be heard. Their views can always be respected, but they cannot impose it on us.
Okay. So Vesta is asking what the minority's disposition to the bauxite concessions handed to Rockshaw after it was taken from Exton Cubic. Will you support its ratification when it comes before Parliament?
You see, one of the major challenges that we have as members of Parliament, and for example, senior ones like myself, I mean, with all humility, you don't like talking about things that have not yet come to the House. Okay. You see, I mean, there are things that are standard, like budgets, I mean, like State of the Nation, you know it's coming, you can, but where people are talking about an agreement, because you need to look at the content and see the things that are in before you make comment. These things are not before us. I can bet you that, I mean, when it comes, we'll do what is needful.
Well, there's one also, Idrisu, on the minority leadership. Does he think they still enjoy support as and when, against when they won the speakership election, or have lost the trust of the base of their party, leading some to even call for an overhaul of the minority leadership? There's one also without a name. There have been myriad of allegations against Honorable Muntaka and Haruna Idrisu in particular about being in bed with the government and betraying the NDC. How true is that?
Well, that cannot be true. Because sometimes I always say that if you know Parliament and, I mean, my colleagues opposite, if they hear this, they will just laugh. Because, I mean, they themselves, sometimes they say that, you know, there's been an obstructionist. Because, for example, since we were open, we insist, even laying of paper, if the minister himself is not there, the paper will not be laid. But you see, the sad thing is that those who are peddling the falsehood will not show this one. They will only show the things that are vague, and sometimes you cannot put any finger on it and make issue out of it. Look, we are doing the best that we can. I can tell you our caucus is solid. You cannot have 137 members and expect everybody to be happy. But largely, I can tell you more than 90% of our caucus know that we are on track. We are doing the best that we can under the given circumstances. All I will say is that stop listening to those who are miseducating you. The rules of the House. You can walk to Parliament and buy the standing orders and know how the House ran. If you know how the House ran, you will not listen to somebody telling you a cock and bull story. Yeah, oh, the House is 137, 137. Are we 137, 137? We are 137, 138. The moment the second deputy speaker wrote and speaker accepted that he was going to work with the other side, they became 138. And that was why he gave them the majority and we had to contend with the minority. And in Parliament, I keep saying 99% of the decision that we take is by simple majority. So if it comes to the crunch and everybody take and 10 position, don't expect us to win. We could put up the best of 5. Unless somebody across is not there or someone on our side is not there, it will always be the 137, 138. It is when you go into secret ballot, that is where you have the opportunity to poach from each side. I mean, they will always try to poach from your side, and you try to poach from their side. So that's where maybe there could be a difference.
You are not in bed with us.
Yes. I mean, how could we be in bed?
So Sylvia is asking...
They're harassing us and making things very difficult for us.
How are they harassing?
They are. I mean, you see, they have an executive, and you have... I mean, look at what happened in court with Dr. Puni. You see, sometimes it's so worrying that you make it look as if, apart from one particular judge, no other person can do it. What have you really discussed with that judge that you insist that that judge should be the only one who can sit on that case? Even when the judge has moved on from appeal court judge to a Supreme Court judge, you come the same, his own colleagues will rule that no, we think that you are biased and therefore recuse yourself. Now you repanel, and I'm sorry, I mean, Justice Duce, I'm sad. I mean, when I heard you say that, oh, you only met the Attorney General to discuss about law school, You know that the Attorney General has brought a review before you, and you are a panel member.
But he was sitting was acting as a Chief Justice, so he can't meet the Attorney General?
He would tell you, I've had the greatest privilege to vet all of them sitting in the Supreme Court with all humility. They would talk, they will ask, I won't let you come and meet me when I'm to vet you. I won't. Ministers, some ministers even take offense. We are here in the house with you. Some people do small vetting. I even call you won't pick. I said, no, because you are appearing before me. It is not just morally right for me to meet you. Because when I meet you, we may be discussing something far away from the vetting.
About this general legal counsel issue that he had to resolve.
No.
Parliament is taking up now.
No, I don't think that is fair. Okay. Knowing that the kind of case that is before you. Because you see, justice is not supposed to just be done. It is supposed to be manifestly done. It has to be seen to be done. And when you do it in a way that creates suspicion, you create problem for everybody. Because, look, you now have people, yes, I know my colleagues on the majority will say that if I say I'm liberal, they say, oh, no, you are one of the extremists on your side. Put the national interest on top of everything that you are doing.
In this particular case,
most of the time, the actions and inactions of our colleagues in the opposite makes it very difficult. Because when you are trying to bring people along, so why are you always talking about national interest? I did talking about national interest when they do the things that they do. So I believe that we need to be a little bit careful the way we are carrying things, because you see, our democracy is cherished around the world. To sustain it, we need to let people have trust in the institutions of state. When the trust is eroding, in Parliament, people will say, oh, Parliament is this, oh, the judiciary is that. When we erode the confidence that people have in institutions such as arms of government, that would be a danger for our democracy. And I don't think that augurs well for us. And I just want to advise my colleague and brother, the Attorney General. Well, I've told you a number of times on your face, you disagree with me. I know you may continue to disagree with me. Don't allow your office to be used for political scoring. Because you see, the table turned. I came to Parliament when it was President Kufuor. And then we came to power, we had no opposition. It's when these things turn. I mean, and I mean, it's very difficult. Yes. I mean, the way things are done, even if you don't want to believe it, you just see them playing. And it's very difficult for you. You know, the other people have some saying that squatting looks like shitting. When you squat, I mean, it looks like shitting. So you say, I'm not shitting, but you're always squatting. I mean, it's very difficult for people to believe that you are not shitting. So when the things they do makes it very difficult for you not to believe that this office is not being used for political reasons. And when that becomes the general perception, it endangers he himself.
We're grateful. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. That's the Minority Chief Whip, Muntaka Mubarak, also the Aswase MP. Many thanks also to the First Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Jose, who's also joined us via phone. For our radio audience, it's time for A Walk with Jesus. I am MFAPA. Many thanks for your company. Another edition comes your way. On behalf of the entire team, have a good evening.